Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of the new Character Matters program. This is the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we have faced for several decades now, and that affects every aspect of our lives. And I've been talking recently about the capacity to love, which is ultimately what character development is all about. As we grow emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, hopefully, we develop the capacity to truly love. Of course, that requires that we understand what love is all about. Sadly, in our character impaired times, discerning what real love is harder than ever. And developing the personal capacity to demonstrate genuine love is harder than ever. We human beings have always had our character-related problems. Developing solid character is not easy. For some people, it takes a lifetime, and even then, they are marginally successful. You have to have the right mindset about it. And as I discuss in my books, you have to be willing in your heart to embrace fully what I call the 10 commandments of character, the essential axioms for becoming a person of genuine integrity, for rising above our baser inclinations and being the kind of person that we all have it within us to be. But in our character impaired times, cultural climates being as they are, and the environments in which too many of us grow and learn, developing ourselves into the kind of folks that we have it within us to be is more challenging than ever. Still, it's our primary task. And we used to appreciate this fact much more than we do these days. Fortunately, I think that the tide is turning. Things are turning around in such a way where people are once again coming to realize the supreme importance of character. We place our faith in all types of things. We place our faith in programs, politicians, rules and structures, laws and regulations. When people of good, solid character integrity don't really need these things to behave well. And people of poor character disregard all these things anyway, doing as they please and not paying attention to the consequences, even the negative ones, largely being undeterred in their way of seeing things and doing things in the world. Character matters. It always has, and it always will. And I've been talking about why some people, especially individuals with significant narcissistic traits in their personality, have trouble learning to love. They have problems, beginning with the very, very first so-called commandment of character, which has to do with appreciating the bigger picture, seeing the bigger picture, recognizing that each one of us is a part of something larger than ourselves. The universe does not revolve around us. Rather, we are part of a vast universe. And everything we say, do, even aspire to. Everything about us has impact on all the rest. We are inextricably interconnected, whether we appreciate that fact or not. Now, individuals who are narcissistic don't particularly care about that impact. They are so self-focused and so self-interested and so unconcerned about the nature of the impact of their behavior that they do as they please with a sense of entitlement. And that brings us to the second commandment that I discussed first in my book, Character Disturbance, and explore in great detail in my latest book, Essentials for the Journey. When you think about it, when you really ponder it, when you get out of the dominant cultural mindset, you can come to appreciate that we're actually not entitled to a single thing. Every single breath we draw is an unearned gift, however you want to see it. Whether you're completely atheistic or agnostic and don't want to think of a supreme being or power of that nature or not, all of us would have to admit that we did not invent ourselves, that we did not give rise to ourselves. And yes, we can say we were born of the other human beings that created us, whether in the lab or in more traditional ways. But it's hard to deny the fact that nature granted us this existence without us particularly doing anything to either create it or earn it. So however you want to look at it, this life that we have is a gift, a totally unearned gift. And we are inherently beholden to a greater entity, however we want to see it. And that realization and that acceptance is the very beginning of the humility necessary to overcome our inherent narcissism. So these very first axioms or commandments that I call them, to appreciate that we're part of something bigger and that everything we do has impact and that we are not entitled to a single breath. All of this is the beginning of a sense of humble reverence for this gift and some felt obligation to pay the debt through the manner in which we conduct ourselves in this world. And I'll have more to say about that in future Character Matters podcasts. I have some major announcements too. The audio version of Essentials for the Journey is in production presently and should be available after Labor Day. I'll have more announcements about that on future programs. And I've posted a new article on my blog at drgeorgesimon.com. You see the URL at the top of the screen. And that article has to do with what I call meta-narcissism. Those characters who are impaired in ways that go beyond mere narcissism. In the coming weeks, I'll also have some announcements concerning the availability of these podcasts on the major podcast platforms. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, avail yourself of all my works and numerous free articles online on the blog at drgeorgesimon.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again on the next edition of the new character matters. Till then, I'm Dr. George Simon. Take care.